Roll call?
Rika. Here.
Here.
Moraz. Here. Brumberg is here, and Montez.
Present.
All right, we're going to go ahead and do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Barry.
Here.
Vincent, and Melissa.
All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And thank you to all you veterans or current military.
All right. Second that. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as written?
I move we approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
I have a motion, and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So, any person may address the board upon any subject within the jurisdiction of the Orangevale Recreation Park District, with each speaker being limited to 3 minutes. However, the chairperson can impose reasonable limitations to the maximum time per person and per agenda item to allow the board to complete its business. Any matter that requires action will refer to staff or committee for a report and action at a subsequent meeting.
Director Stickney,
Yes, sir.
I'll ask the question again since a lot of new people came in. Is there anybody here that wants to speak about anything that is not on the agenda tonight? All right.
All right. 6A, approval of regular meeting of October 13th.
I move we approve the minutes from the October 13th meeting as presented.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, then let's go ahead and vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'll abstain. I wasn't at the meeting.
One abstention.
Okay. So then we're on to 7A, correspondence, attorney billing.
Yeah, the first item is an article in the Orangevale View written by.
Oh, no.
Nope, the confidential. I move that
I'm
we
sorry.
approve the attorney billing for September 2022.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. It's a money item, so we got to have an individual vote.
All right, Moraz.
Yes.
Brumberg is a yes. Montez.
Yes.
Fresno.
Yes.
And Stickney.
Yes. All right, then we've got 7B, article on the youth center buildings as submitted by the Orangevale
Now you're up.
All right, yes.
History Project.
Joyce Kruger's in the audience tonight, and she wrote this article in the Orangevale View. And, what, excuse me? I don't think so. It's a great article. It's about the youth center building and the history of that building, so thank you for that.
Perfect timing.
And then the next item, correspondence, is our ad in the Orangevale View that highlights our upcoming programs and events. And then the fourth item is an article written by our recreation coordinator, Andrew Gross, thanking the community for their participation in our Family Fright Night.
It's a cute
He's
little
our new,
witch.
he's our new
Our new
Coordinator.
recreation coordinator.
Coordinator, yes.
All right, consent items. Can I get a motion?
I motion that we approve the consent item calendar as presented, item 8 through 8.3B.
I'll second that. Okay. It's a money item, so we have to do an individual vote.
Brumberg is a yes. Montez.
Yes.
Fresno.
Yes.
Stickney.
Yes.
And Moraz.
Okay, then we're going to go on to 9A, the non-consent matters. And I'll make a motion that we approve that as written.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. So it's a money thing again, so
Okay, Montez will be
I abstain.
staying. Fresno.
Yes.
Stickney.
yes.
Moraz.
Yes.
And Brumberg is a yes. 4-0.
Okay, then we're going to go out of order a little bit. We're going to go on to 13A. presentation by SCI. Barry, you want to speak to that?
Yes, Susan Barnes with SEI is here tonight to present the findings from the survey that went out regarding the potential funding for the assessment district for the district. That would help fund some of our priorities that we have listed for our master plan.
I'm going to give you a copy of the PowerPoint
Barry,
presentation.
projector on.
If you want to take any notes.
Thank you.
So I'm just giving you a copy of the pretty presentation I'm about to give. I'm not giving anything you're not about to see.
Jason, could you do that? Thank you.
So I'm Susan Barnes from SCI Consulting Group. Most of you know me from helping with your annual administration of your assessment for the OLAD as well as for Kenneth Road. So I was talking to Gary, I'm usually here in the summer and it's nice and sunny out when I talk to you. And I'm not used to talking to you when it's dark out, so here we are. So we did, as you know, OLAD is not bringing in as much money as the district would like. It has had no CPI. It's got the exact same rate that it had when it was instituted more than 20 years ago. And unfortunately, as we all know, costs have been increasing and the district wants to be able to do more, but they're having to do more with less. And so the district wanted to know, could we perhaps do another assessment in order to augment the funds that we're getting from what we have right now. And so we did a survey to find out about that. So we wanted to know what's the support and the priorities of the property owners and to measure the level of support, both in terms of would they support a funding measure and what are you planning to do with the money, how do they feel about that. So what we did is we did an initial property analysis to look at with our latest methodologies that we use for assessments. We mailed the surveys on September 15. We mailed 7,500 surveys, and then we had them out in the field for about a month. And then we tabulated them based on what we'd received as of October 17th of this year. And the survey tested two options. One was, let's replace OLAD altogether and just have one assessment on your property tax bill, and that showed a higher rate than what you would get if you kept OLAD exactly as it is and just did a new assessment on top of it just to do the extra revenue that you need. And there's pros and cons for both of those things, but we wanted to test both of them and see if it made much of a difference to your community either way. We received almost 1,360 surveys. It was about an 18% return rate, which is great. We usually on mail surveys see about a 15 to 20% return rate, so that was a pretty good return rate. The most important thing is that you have a 2.49%, about 2.5% margin of error on the results. And even though election results right now, and all the surveys come back with margin of error, but basically the numbers we're going to show you should be within 3 or 4 points of where you really would have been if you had mailed a ballot on September 15th instead of the survey. So just kind of keep that in mind. If you're within 3 or 4 points, percentage points, because this is a statistically valid survey that we mailed to a random sampling, stratified random sampling. So first of all, what we did is, in the bottom part of the survey, it listed the different things, and I had questions about some of the different things that you wanted to do. And this, I apologize, is a little small to look at. But people love the fact that the money from the assessment can't be taken by the state or the county. They absolutely agree that well-maintained parks are an important part of the community. They love the idea of new and improved restrooms. So that was definitely
I think we all do.
definitely
A good selling point.
appreciated. by folks, nobody wants to stop in the middle of the ballgame and run home and use the restroom and come back. And you can see as it goes down, now in order to pass an assessment, you need 50%. And so where you see the green to the right of the 50%, that's great. We normally, when we do a park survey, we'd like to see at least your top things probably in the 60 to 65% support. The only thing that really got over 60% is that the money can't be taken by the state or the county. That's not great news. That they weren't more excited about more other things. And then you'll notice that toward the bottom, you have the new splash park, the new bike track and skate park. And those were some real features of your capital improvement program that you wanted to do. And unfortunately, they are, at this point anyway, testing not well. And people have concerns about those, and we'll get later, but what do we do about that fact? Because I think those are wonderful things for the community, and maybe there's just some education that needs to happen about what that really means for them. So when we looked at what the overall support was, so 1A was the replace the OLED, and 1B was the new one on top of the OLED. They're both in the 40 to 42% range. Again, you need 50% to pass. If you think again about that 2.5% margin of error, if you said, oh, well, your survey was just unlucky, let's add the margin of error to it. Even if you add 3%, you're still not there. Even if you doubled that, you're still not. And so, unfortunately, it's looking like the community is not in support of this idea at this time. We have some more detail here. And so we didn't actually just ask yes or no. We said, are you definitely yes, or you probably yes, or you definitely no, or you probably no. And unfortunately, you have almost 50% definitely no on both of these. And of course, that makes it extremely difficult. Because sometimes if you're probably no, if your definitely yes is very strong, and your probably no is pretty big, we might say, well, all you need to do is get to have community champions out there and talk those probably no's into a yes. You don't have a lot of probably no's. You have a lot of people who say, nope, I don't care what you're going to do. I'm not going for it, is what they're saying right now. So that's another indication that now is not the best time. What we found is people in the 30 to 49%, 30 to 49 years old tend to be the highest support, which is pretty common. Usually the younger folks are just getting on their feet and getting started and don't have a lot of discretionary income. A lot of times some of the older people may have more of a fixed income. They're not working anymore. So this is not unusual to see this pattern. Political party, again, Democrats love it. Republicans not so much. And so that's pretty common. Just so you know, OR is other, so they didn't say Republican or Democrat, and X is mixed. There's a Republican and a Democrat in the same household. Hopefully not killing each other. This is, again, pretty normal distribution in terms of how folks in different
That's interesting.
parties support it. And then years in residence. And this is, again, also pretty normal. People who just moved here are all excited about it, and they want that everything's going to be great, and people who've lived here longer are like, it's fine, everything's been great all this time I've been here, you don't need more money, you're doing great. So the summary, basically, what we want to tell you is the community does appreciate the parks and the services that you're providing. It's really clear, both in what they picked about what they liked, as well as the comments that we saw in the surveys. Key capital projects, again, that you were proposing are not very supported right now. There's, in the level of support for funding measures is not high enough at this time. Now, I talked about this with our president, John Barnes, and other folks in the firm, and we all pretty much agree that what your community is saying is, we love you, now is not the time. There are lots of people talking about inflation, lots of people talking in the comments about gas prices, lots of people are really worried about the economy and where is it going, and they're not comfortable. And so we feel that this is not about you in your park district. It's really about the kind of the overall country and inflation and things that are really beyond the control of the district at this time. The only exception to that is this, that they're not all that supportive of things like the skate park and the splash park and the bike track. And so that's something that maybe if you did some outreach to your community over the next couple of years, then during that time, if inflation were to come down, gas prices were to get better, things might change nationally where people are feeling a little more optimistic, you might want to do a follow-up survey and see, okay, are people ready now? But I think we would want to see sort of this overall country's moving in the right direction feeling from people, where right now there's a lot of people who feel like the country's not necessarily moving in the best direction. So I think that's really what you got caught up in there. For the survey comments that were in favor, again, vast majority of people saying they support the parks. They do have suggestions. Your community definitely has suggestions. So there are some people who are concerned about homelessness or drug use. I don't know if that's actually a problem or if that's just a perception some people have. There's a request for more access for people with disabilities. And again, they love the better restroom thing. So that's even people, so they're like, yes, we're voting yes, we want the restrooms. And people always want some more information. For the people who were saying who were against it, the main surveys were, this is really normal. The number one thing on no surveys for the last 16 years that I've been with SCI, it's always no new taxes. You always are going to have a certain number of people that they don't care what you're going to do, they don't care what district it is or what you're offering, they're going to say no new taxes to everything. Then there's a lot of sort of like this mistrust of government that's happening, that your survey results are basically saying, and when I say mistrust of government, they're saying things like, we think you must waste money, we don't believe you're going to spend it the way you say, we think Sacramento's going to take your money from you somehow. So there's this sort of feeling of distrust that's happening, which again I think is not so much about this district itself, but that people sometimes have a general distrust of government that comes up. They also had suggestions, also a lot of number of people concerned about homelessness and drugs. People saying, hey, find the money somewhere else, like, which is great. I know you look for money. I know if there were grants out there that you could get, you would get them, right? I have every confidence in that, but people think you're maybe going to get it somewhere else. And fix the roads. Well, that's not your purview. You can't do that. But unfortunately, people, yeah.
We do fix the parking lots, though.
Sure, you can fix
We
the
do,
parking lots.
we take care of what we can take care of.
That's absolutely. But they didn't mention parking lots. They want the roads,
Yeah.
which,
Should we tell them we'll fix the potholes? Would that help?
Well, if we would just use the asphalt that was used for all the speed bumps to fix the potholes.
there you go.
But that's a whole nother, sorry, guys, derailed.
Okay, so our recommendations are, we would recommend you not go forward with the ballot measure this time. We think that you'd spend a lot of money, which we would take if you wanted to hire us to do it, but we would recommend you not do that. In fact, if you ask, we might say, then don't do that. Don't spend your money on that right now. But what can you do is you can launch a public outreach campaign so people understand why you need new funding. That people may not realize that you've got this assessment that's been the exact same rate for over 20 years. That's pretty crazy. We all know prices are way higher than they were 20 years ago. Educate folks on what you've done to cut costs. I know you've done things to cut costs, right? That's obvious. To us, but maybe not to everybody. What you might be able to do in the future, or what you might have to do in the future to cut costs, because you don't have this funding. Nobody wants to be threatened. So, but it's good to be honest about people and say, look, we're going to have to cut something, and here are some things that we think we may have to cut. So people understand. And then also, if you do want to go forward with the skate park, bike track, splash park, to educate the community about why those things are positive. Sometimes people think, oh, skateboarders, scary. And it's like, no, this is a safe, you don't want them on the streets where you're afraid of hitting people on skateboards with your car. You want them at the skate park where they're gonna be safe, and we can do that there, and you don't have to worry about them suddenly coming out of, the sidewalk and they're falling off their board and your board hits your window or whatever. So there's all sorts of community outreach that you can do. You can do that on your own. You can hire a firm to help you with that. That's up to you. That's something we could help you with. There are other public outreach firms that do nothing but public outreach. Or you might be able to just do it on your own. Yeah.
Were they against the splash park or just the skateboard park?
The splash park we had as a separate item on the survey, so if you go back to that one with all those little bars, it was low. And right now, part of it is concern about the drought, that everybody's trying to save water, and they think, well, this splash park, there's all this water that's going to be used that wouldn't or otherwise be used. I know a lot of that gets recycled, but some of it evaporates, and people may not realize a lot of it's being recycled, but there was definitely a concern about this. Now is not the time to be doing water stuff.
So, because it kind of surprises me, because when we had our community meetings and working on our master plan, the top items that were discussed was the bike park, the skate park, and the splash.
Yeah.
I mean, that was community input that made
Yeah.
those three the top. I mean, yes, I'm an advocate for the skate park and the bike track, even the water park, but I mean, the community conveyed that message, so that's a little surprising to me.
And maybe we should try to sell it in the sense that you want restrooms that function correctly. We're falling behind as far as our ability to get new ones. Add one at Almond Park.
Restrooms were over 50%, Mike.
What?
So they supported the restroom.
I know, but we didn't.
But they just don't want to pay for it right now, basically.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of it. It's just they're right now people are feeling a little worried about if this inflation doesn't come down.
And that's
how am I
understandable.
gonna keep paying for stuff that I need, like my food and my medicine and my, kids' school supplies and all that
Oh,
other
yeah,
stuff.
I agree. I think it's timing, and I think the idea of the campaign, the outreach campaign should have been maybe something we should have done prior to survey.
That's what I was wondering too. I mean,
I mean,
this
I think
is
it
an
would have,
outreach, but should we have
helped
done
to
that before
educate.
to get the numbers up, to really find out? I
And-
thought this was supposed to be a cold survey.
Yes, so,
Right?
and that's what we normally try to do, is just a cold survey
Yeah, right.
before you go and try to do, because frankly, public outreach can get you a few percentage points. It's not gonna get you 10 percentage points. All right, and so it's good for us to know that, again, outreach is going to help you, and it'll help to position you when the whole economy gets a bit better and people are feeling more optimistic. So it's worth doing now, but I would not suggest that you do a tracker survey or go forward with a measure until people are, in general, are just more optimistic.
oh, I agree with you.
And then
Susan,
the
would
other,
it-
the other thing is the assessment is almost 30 years old, not 20.
Yeah, you're right, I always think of it as over 20.
It's over
The problem is
25,
I've been
I think
around
it's-
so long that I
It was,
keep
it
forgetting.
was 1992.
Yeah, and Susan,
30.
would it help to let the public know how much these items, one item would cost? Because most people probably don't have an idea how much one bathroom costs.
Yeah.
I know- Does anyone know how much a bathroom costs?
In San Francisco, I think it's $1 billion.
I know,
Yeah,
but
That's San Francisco. Out here, a lean-to would cost you a couple $100,000. So you're looking at a bathroom in a park, oh yeah, that's great. A couple $100,000. We need at least 5 bathrooms. That's $1 million for bathrooms, just bathrooms.
Yeah.
And that's not gouging the public, that's just costs. How much it really costs. And
that's,
those are factors I don't think the public's aware of, that
yes, you're absolutely right, and that's why, again, that if you do some outreach, that you can start now and get your public to be more informed about, yes, these are things that we need, and this cost to do it. And meanwhile, our assessment is not going up.
Yes. And it's, you know, the public doesn't realize we're considered land rich because we have more acreage of parks per capita per person right now. But in 5 years, that's going to be negative because of population growth in Orangevale. So right now, we're comfortable with property, but 5 years from now, according to, I guess it was one of your surveys, it came out that that turns around, and then you're going to have more people using parks with less capability, less room for them. People have to wait longer. You go on a trail and the trail needs repair and there's nobody to do it and you wonder why. All of these things cost money, and it's like, I couldn't believe just the wood chips, you know? Freaking wood chips. We do our own wood chips, by the way.
So
All right,
Susan,
all
Anyway,
right, so,
can I ask just one question, Director Stickney? Was there any indication other than bathrooms that the community wanted to see? Was there any comments wanted other than bathrooms?
You know, we can look through this, we've got all the suggestions, and we'll send those to Barry so that
Okay.
you can read through all of them, because some of them did have very specific things that they wanted. We just kind of.
You generalized, I appreciate that. But if you could do that,
Trails were kind of up there too.
okay, because I'd like to know. I'd like to know just for future knowledge, so.
I
Yeah, absolutely.
had a constituent ask me, well, does this help get our trail to Folsom Lake?
yes, it would. Yes, it would.
It was
Well,
not on the
I
list.
had a question about
It was not.
survey wording,
would.
and if that has an impact on, in your experience. So in this case, most folks don't even know that they're paying the 42 and some cents per year. They just don't know it. And so then we send this saying, do you want to pay $70-something now? Instead of saying something like that, would wording like, would you rather a $20 a year increase? Does that help with surveys?
Yes, so that's a great question. So we actually did both things. We did, one was to replace, and the other survey, so we sent half the surveys to people that
okay.
said, hey, do you want to replace it? And it's the $73. And then the other ones was, the other half of the people got a survey that said, do you want this in addition to the current one? For the lower amount, so the difference, so for 30-something dollars. So that's what we did, but they both came back, one was 40%, one was 42%, so that didn't make much of a difference. And the survey was very clear, because we want to make sure, we want to be transparent with the public. The survey said, single-family homes now pay $42. This would be in addition to, and the other one was, single-family homes currently $42, this would be instead of. So if they read that, now not everybody reads that info item that comes with the survey, right? Because people often
Right.
don't read.
I mean, I did receive one of the
I got
surveys.
one that said,
No, yeah, I got the
They
one
got
that
the
said
red.
$73.
73, I got
If
that
you
one
look
too.
at
I was
that
surprised.
nice other piece of paper that came with it, it did say that, but again, I know not everybody reads everything, obviously, but we tried to make that clear in case they didn't realize it.
and this is per
I've
year,
got
this
a-
is not monthly.
Yeah.
And it seemed like
Yes.
everybody was fussing about increase the rate annually, like we could I don't think the survey was clear about what our limits would be in increasing the rate annually.
That
Everyone
was a little
Because
confusing.
there was some questions about the,
Yeah, what you see on there is a shortened version. The actual survey said 3%, up to 3% a year. So the actual survey, in the actual survey question,
Up to 3% a year?
was up to 3% a year. So, I just,
Okay,
the
yeah, increase
thing's
it,
already, that slide's already crowded. We should have brought copies of the surveys for you so you can see that, so it was much.
Do you happen to know what San Juan School District charges everybody in the district? I mean, when I look at the $42,
Oh, yeah, it's hundreds of dollars.
Like comps, so for
Our
have comps.
our school district fees?
yeah, say being so,
School districts always get more than park districts.
bottom
I
line,
know, but
bottom
that-
line, it's not the right time.
They,
Right.
in our case, it's like 10 times as much. It's like, yeah, $700, $800 of
See,
the average property tax bill is for San Juan Unified.
I mean, that's what
Opposed to
people,
$42.
that's what we need to sell. We're only asking for this much, and your schools get this much, and we're more responsive to, I think we,
I just think also that it hasn't been increased in 30 years.
In 30 years.
All right,
That's right.
well-
It's been $42. That's it.
Inflation, I mean, it's-
We'll wait for the economy to change and the world to get brighter and reapproach.
Is there a
Wait for a
committee
rainbow.
we can refer this to for maybe updating our website with, hey, we had the survey, we're not moving forward, and start some outreach from our, I don't know if we have a, what committee that falls under our website?
Why don't we,
Oh, we have.
why don't we
also
let
do
it rest
ERAF.
for a while, and then let's bring it back up in February?
And yeah, committee
so-
can, because we,
Well, we
because
can,
people
no, we,
took
no,
the
we can,
survey, they would like to go to our website.
well,
and
let's
see
have it
some
as
of
an
the-
agenda item, and then we can decide what committee, or ad hoc, or planning, or whatever.
Yeah,
I can add
And
this to our
then we
website
could get,
with a note.
That would be great.
yeah.
And to the public, we also pay school taxes as a park district. We have what's called ERAF, Educational Readjustment Augmentation Fund. We've paid over, what, $1.5 million in taxes.
We're well over 2 million.
Well over 2 million. We, as a park, our little park district has paid that much. That's taken off of our coffers that goes to education. Okay? So, I mean, and then you figure it out. You take out the wallets and the moths start flying. It's like, okay, but we do this every year, and the public is not aware of that, but it's been on the books. Even when the state has money, they still take it. So, yeah, it's over $2 million, this little park. Think of what we could do. We don't have bathrooms. So,
Yep, good
All right,
potties.
so let's-
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you. I appreciate
Thank
all
you.
the work that you did in compiling the data and getting that survey out.
and so, let's put it on, and I'm just suggesting February.
February's good.
Now, everybody keep your reports, and then we can,
no problem.
have a discussion
Thank you,
and
Susan.
send it off to a committee.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. All right.
Staff, you got any questions?
You know, it's a little disappointing, of course, but it's understandable too. And you want people to vote, you know, the way they feel, and
Yeah.
that's the way it turned out. You know, one way to look at it, and I'm glad she said it, is it doesn't reflect that they're disappointed in the district. And Rancho Cordova was interested in going for a funding measure last year, and their public basically told them, we're happy with the way things are. You know, we're not interested in new taxes, but just want you to know we're happy with the way things are being run. And so I guess I'm gonna just interpret this as, you know, that kind of a compliment, because I know I haven't heard much negative at all in my 2 years here.
I mean, all we gotta do is just point across the street. We've already had to close one playground down. It's gone. The one by the baseball field across the street, it's gone. And it's on our list to replace, but it's gonna have to wait its turn.
And it's porta potty time.
There's a porta potty over there.
Anyway, let's
Okay,
save this, set it
on
aside
to
for a couple
happier
months.
things.
All right, so the next
All
item,
these people are.
we're gonna pull out of, it's gonna be 13F. Discussion providing history, Orangevale history project space in one of our buildings.
Yeah, so this
Barry?
is, it's on the agenda as a discussion item, and it's something that we wanted to bring up for the board to just start to talk about, digest. And it is an interest in us as a district being able to find room, find housing for the Orangevale History Project. We have facilities, as Manny mentioned, we are facility rich. And so we're looking at, as a district administrator, I think it would be fantastic to have a museum, you know, on our property. It'd be fantastic to, you see it a lot in parks and recreation agencies, be it cities or districts, libraries or museums, as part of their, you know, their recreation, their culture. And it'd be really neat for us to do that. So I just thought it'd be good to start the discussion to see how feasible it is and a location that might be most desirable for the district. And then the Orangevale History Project, Mark is here. I know he's going to want to share some thoughts as well. Mark saw this on the agenda, and he wanted to make sure that he could be here to listen to what we have to say and share.
I guess,
Have they looked at our facilities?
Yes, this summer, I know Mark has in Maryland, I believe. I don't know who else.
do they know roughly what kind of square footage they want, or?
Probably by eyeballing. I don't know if, I think they've gone to our website and saw some of the maps that the renters would get to see.
So, Director Stickney, I requested that it be put on the agenda for discussion.
Right.
Recently, I was at an event that displayed their history, KFBK's 100th anniversary of being on the radio. And someone had said there that in order for us to move forward as a culture, we need to honor our past. And there was no better way to do that than the way they had it displayed. And honestly, Orangevale has not had that opportunity to display their history or preserve it in any way, and that's something that we have missed for a very long, long time. And because we're unincorporated, I feel very strongly that it's almost our obligation to help preserve our history and to work with the History Project on this, because we are a county entity. Any other facility that they might use could go away. The artifacts, the history, all the research could just disappear. But we're likely to hold on to that and pass that on to further generations, as well as it fits perfectly with our mission, with education, with our kids, with our generations. And I believe, I mean, I could just envision the kids visiting and people coming and visiting our museum and everything that we have to offer. And when we're all gone, it's still going to continue. And I think that is our legacy, and that is important for this district and this board to make that decision on.
And actually, I've been to the Folsom History Museum, and it's not very large, but it has a rich history in it.
I'm just so excited.
So, yeah, at this point, I think
I
we
would
want
love-
to do it, I think we want to let staff decide where we could put it.
I think that the cottage would be, I would personally recommend the cottage. It has an opportunity for the public to access fairly easy. We are currently not utilizing it. It has multiple different rooms. It could still be used for a gathering place, and it could, I
In a
think.
meeting place.
A meeting place, and display what is needed. I'm not sure. I know that they've collected a lot of items and have a lot of ideas, I'm sure, and they can share it. But my recommendation would be, so that it doesn't interrupt any of the programs, would be the cottage.
Well,
But is that ADA accessible?
Yes, it
It
is.
now.
What is
Yes, it
now?
is.
well,
Yeah.
what I would like it across the street, because it's got a history with Orangevale.
It does. But do we have programs? We have programs across the street that it might interfere with.
But they could be moved, maybe, we'll see, but whatever.
Okay.
Um,
So Mark wants to
But-
talk. but-
So I was going to leave it up to staff to take whatever the public input, come up with suggestions in the future.
Can we hear Mark?
Like we all like.
Sure. Anybody,
And the staff to come back with what they think. But yeah, the cottage is small enough that.
Give you a little summary of different areas of our focus and what we've been working on.
Thank you.
So we have three core areas that we are in organization trying to make sure we not only protect, collect, and then share the history of Orangevale. And these three areas, there's a lot of work that goes into them, and we have, you can see part of our organization here, interested in what's going on. The first part is the collecting, and we have already people donating items. We have people that are willing to donate items once we do have an actual museum. We have stuff that's already been coming in that we're processing in the chamber, so we're having to then take stuff out, put it on their tables. We have to process it within, an hour, hour and a half, and then we have to put everything back away off of their floor because they use it for other activities. Having a place where we could put out our archiving and our processing and work at it as we have time through the week and not have to try to jockey with other organizations would be really helpful. The significant items, some of the items we're looking at could be actually fairly large, given we're an agricultural community historically. One thing we'd like to do, not only with a building, would be to have an area outside that we could have maybe some farm implements or something displayed out with a little fenced area so that the kids could see that and be able to enjoy some of that historical items from the Tomich farm or the different ones. When you switch over to preserving, we have to work on cleaning stuff, sorting it, organizing it. Climate control is important for us. We want to make sure that these artifacts, these papers, these photos don't end up in a Connex or something where they can get burned up or destroyed. We want to have them in a place where they will be preserved for a long time. And then we're going to have an area where we want to digitize. When we get these items, right now we just have one George was working on was a little guest book from the late 1880s, 1890s, and it has people signing in this guest book. We got it from the White Dog Farm collection, and we digitized that, and we're going to have that something we can have available in a digital experience, which we mentioned last time that we're working on for a touch train digital experience that I think that will really bring in the younger generations. And then finally, the sharing. So museum, we have, not only do we present right now monthly at the chamber, so we have a meeting of 30 to 40 people. We share a topic each month. You can see it on our YouTube channel. It's been houses recently, but we'll be doing that for years to come. And so we need a place where we can have 30 to 40 people to present. Then we have the museum we'd love to present and put together this experience. And we want to have it, I'll have David chime in about the technologies we're talking about. But those kind of in a gift shop would be nice to have in this museum area. So when you look at all the different areas that we're working on, it's just something to consider as you're thinking about, okay, what's the best fit? When we did our tour of the 4 buildings, we really liked the building 2, the old children's building, and also the cottage. Those were our top 2 favorites, looking at the facilities, the access or the visibility from the road. The flow in the children's building was nice for a museum and a gift shop. The cottage also works with the different areas where we can do storage, archive our big banker boxes of artifacts, those kind of things, as well as having some room for the museum. So that's some different things to think about as you're considering what would be best for us.
You gotta understand, we're not gonna supply a lot of personnel to man this.
Oh, no.
And the storage part concerns me a little bit. Are you guys gonna rotate the museum and you're gonna store it and change it?
Yeah, so, I'm sorry, Mike, I didn't, this team, we already are all 100% volunteer right now.
Right.
And so we have all these different teams that are working on things. So we will, as soon as we know this might be an actual reality coming, we're gonna set up a museum committee, and they'll be working on the planning to work on that, to do staffing, the displays, of course, planning out how it's gonna look, working on what we would have in our gift shop, how we would promote that out to the community. And again, that's all volunteer. So we're not expecting any staffing from the park district. What we've seen from our research with the other areas, Florin, Elk Grove, Rockland, all those places, typically the Historical Society is responsible for utilities, maintenance, the insurance, of course, on the buildings, and then we would have all the staffing as well.
Well, I'm not sure about utilities. I'm not concerned about utilities. We gotta run the building anyway, me personally, so that doesn't concern
Yeah,
me.
we can't separate out utilities for one
So-
building.
We can only look at what our current utilities are and see if it increases with new occupancy.
And give you a heads up, if it's gonna be on this side of the street, we're gonna put a road down there. So it may push the opening down there off, because you'll have better access down there. Let's say in 6 months, I don't know, maybe that's,
Sounds about right.
Does it have fire sprinklers?
Yes.
The cottage does
Cottage.
not.
The cottage does not have fire sprinklers.
But it has an alarm system. So it
Fire
goes
alarm,
in.
but no
Has
sprinklers.
been cleared by the fire department.
So Director Stickney, could I make a motion that we offer district property
somewhere.
somewhere
Right, no, I,
for the historical project as a museum and a facility, and direct our administrator and staff
to come up with,
to come up with what that is and the terms in which they can use that property? Can I make that motion?
sure.
It says discussion only, though. Can we make an action
Well,
on
no,
an
well,
item?
let's, no, we
Any item on
can,
the?
let's,
It has to be an
I think we
actionable
can,
agenda
I think we can say the public, and the board can correct me if I'm wrong, we're for this.
Then I can ask for it to be on the agenda next month for a
Right.
motion.
Or for an action.
Okay.
Right, so we'll bring it back for an action, but an action in the sense that we'll say we're gonna do it. Now, where it's gonna be done,
Yeah, 'cause
We'll
we have
let-
to, we have to take action. It has to be an actionable item, and we have to make a motion, I would say, for where it's gonna be. So
So we could,
hopefully the staff can come back with an agenda item.
For the
actionable
December.
On where you would like
Yeah.
it to be.
Maybe offer a recommendation.
Yes.
and give us two choices too,
Yeah.
thank you.
if possible.
A high, number one choice and a backup choice.
Yeah, there's pros and cons to, and when Mark mentioned the children's building, that's building number 2 that he's referring to.
See, I don't know what,
I don't
I know
know.
the cottage is the
I can't
closest
remember.
one, right?
Yeah, cottage is the
Yeah, cottage is by the
smallest,
street.
where the church was, we call building number 1, and then the building behind it, the second largest building is the children's building, building number 2.
So we'll bring it back for an actual vote,
Action item.
That means
An
you all
action
get to
item,
come
which-
back
which-
next month.
which mean that,
We like an audience.
which doesn't mean we'll actually say it's gonna be in this building, but we'll say we're gonna do it, we're gonna push forward with the staff to do something. And you may not get it, like I said, fully until the road's done, because we're gonna be doing construction down there. And once it's
Well,
opened.
then we have to work out, there's gotta be a contract.
Well, whatever, so,
Have
well,
to-
there's a lot of, it's not, we're for it,
Yeah, yes, definitely for it.
we're for it, but we're gonna work out all the details, and so I would say sometime in 2023, before the end of this fiscal year, how about that? We'll have some,
I'd like it a little sooner,
well,
but
Well, and let us know if there's,
well, no, it'll be on the agenda for a vote next month.
yes.
well, I mean, if there's anything that would help, yeah, make the decision easier for you,
Oh,
whether that's cost,
No,
Is it gonna
the
cost
decision to do it is not, that's not the
projects that need to
issue.
be done, or
Yeah.
It's, we gotta make sure that the building is what we want it for. Is it one room, and you guys are gonna have to work with staff and say, okay,
And we
You have the
appreciate,
preference.
yeah, anything,
For building two, but you said the cottage is acceptable as well.
So
correct?
we'll bring it we'll have you bring it back on the agenda for a vote.
For a vote, yes.
Okay.
So it'll be an action item.
right.
Awesome.
And it'll be a presentation, like.
I appreciate
A
it.
motion, a recommended motion to make.
Thank you, board. I appreciate the consideration.
And we do move faster than the county.
Yes, we do.
We move a lot faster.
All right, anybody else wishes to speak?
See, that's happy stuff.
I think
I think he wanted to
Mr.
speak.
Dill wanted to speak.
Happy stuff. Love it. It's Christmas.
Since we didn't we didn't put him on the clock, we won't put you on the clock either.
I'm David Dill, and I'm part of a History Project Board, and I just wanted to present to you that I do air conditioning, refrigeration commercially. I've done it for 25 years. I take care of engineering for our CalPERS headquarters, our audio video board that we have. They're multi-million-dollar. They do all their presentations and things of that nature. So anyhow, I'm bringing that experience to the board. And one of the things I just wanted to talk about was different museums that I've been to. The museum in Anchorage, Alaska, the African American Museum in Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee, as well as the Jewish Museum in New York City and in Philadelphia. I've been to a number of museums. I've actually talked to curators, directors of those museums, just because I do air conditioning, refrigeration, find out how they climate control their buildings, things of that nature. One of the things that I'm really excited about is, since children they use these things now to learn, one of the things that Mark and I talked about was coming up with an interactive touch display. And we need to start off small because we don't have that much money, but basically, how cool would it be to have a house, one of our old houses in Orangevale, and be able to touch it and be able to span off and then overlay where it was over to our current position of where it is now. As well as old families here in Orangevale, the same thing, you can actually touch it and be able to just spider off and then go into little rabbit holes, things of that nature. One of the things that I learned at the African American Museum that I loved of music in Nashville, Tennessee, was that you can take they had a little wristband, and every any part of the museum and touch panel that you touched, it actually recorded it.
Mm-hmm.
And so after you left the museum, they got your email and they sent that to you digitally through your email. So everything that you looked at, all the musicians, everything you saw, they actually sent to you for free, which was fantastic. So one of the things I was talking to Mark as well is that we would partner with some of the schools to go to Green Oaks and Coleman, some of the other schools, and how cool would it be to go in the history class and actually present this and say, hey, this is Orangevale. I know you're learning about history, but this is right here where you live, and have the kids be able to touch the touch panel and be able to learn, because that's how the learning process is right now. So anyhow, this is some of the things that we have, and we want to blow Folsom and all these other places away. So we're getting the equipment together. We don't have it yet, but we have the professional crew to do it, myself and our crew over here. So we're ready to rock and roll. We just need to get a place to do it, and what better place, the heart of Orangevale right here, to have people come through and just roam through the museums. They're coming and dropping their kid off playing basketball, what have you, run over there, like, oh, what's this right here, museum, and be able to involve the parents as long as other people that are coming to visit Orangevale. So anyways, that's just a little bit of the plan. I've got more grandiose things to say, but I don't want to spend too much time. But questions?
It's kind of a right turn.
Sure.
I saw somewhere about the train that you're going to.
Yes.
Are you aware of the one that the city of Folsom did up there off Oak Avenue?
You talking about the one that went to Auburn?
Well, if you go on Oak Avenue, just past the little shopping mall, you make a left, and right on that corner, they've got like a little spot where they've created because the railroad went over there too.
Right.
Yeah.
And you go,
That's in Folsom.
well, I know, but it's nicely, unless you've looked at it, it's nicely
Right.
done.
Right. Well, we're gonna, we want to be the talk of the area.
Well, I
So,
know,
we're-
but I would go see what they've done over there.
Gotcha.
I mean, obviously, you guys don't even know that it's there.
No, I didn't know it was there. So-
It got
I'll-
stolen at one point.
Huh?
But, I think they replaced it.
No, it's not, it's there.
It's there now, yeah. They had to replace it though. The sign, the brass sign got stolen.
Oh, that's possible.
But, yeah, no, well, we're working on the sign. I have the graphic artist working on our railroad sign for the OV Community Park right now. I'll have the draft for it for you to review probably by the end of the week.
then
We appreciate all that you guys are doing,
and then,
all of you.
the other thing is, we want to have our staff look at some kind of fire suppression. Having been to Scotty's Castle, and they lost one of their buildings because it burnt, and there was no, so you may want to take a look at that. But I'm all for it.
Perfect.
Awesome. I'm
You
all
have any
for
que-
it.
Do you have any questions? I'm here to talk.
We're gonna
You've got a board that wants it.
We're gonna let the staff
Yeah,
take a
sure.
look at it, and we'll bring it back, and
Yep.
Talk your way out of it.
we'll move forward with it.
Yeah.
And like Manny said, we move a little faster than the county.
Well, thank you for letting
Never
me speak.
fast enough sometimes, but we do.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end the discussion on F, and we're gonna go back up to 10A.
Yeah, standing committees. Take no offense if you.
Committees.
Yeah.
If you guys decide to depart, no offense.
And you're all more than welcome to stay for the next hour if
Yeah.
you want.
Oh, you know what? It would probably be good if you sign in with emails, and then our district can update you on, yeah.
Is that Joyce? I thought you,
Your old admin.
what do you mean yours? She was yours. She wasn't she? She was here when you were here. Yeah, well, whatever.
I have
Don't bring up the one I didn't like, Kristen.
Oh, I love it.
She was
Oh, that's
worthless.
a nice
She
shirt.
was worthless.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I guess.
All right, I'm gonna propose that we take about a 2-minute break.
Probably a good idea.
Because we're distracted.
I love it.
Thank you. I'm one of the 1175, Mark. I'm one of the 1175. I'm one of the 1175. So I love seeing the post.
My
I
husband
think
is,
it'd be great for it to be actually moved from on
he is
Facebook to a
hooked,
museum.
my husband is hooked
Are you ready, Barry?
Let me start this up again.
That was good to take a break, give them a chance.
All right,
Exit
well.
stage right.
All right.
Okay, we're done with our short recess. We're going to go back to standing committees, and we'll go with 10C.
10C, Recreation Committee met on October 27th. And really, the bulk of what we talked about was looking at the fees for primarily rentals and facilities. And that's going to be coming up later in the agenda, so we can, you want to add anything? It's Director Stickney and Montez were on that committee?
No.
No, we just,
I have some questions on it.
sure, go right ahead.
In the committee, you determined to do the pro golf tournament to be classified as a special event rental
Right.
instead of a standard facility, and not for the amateur. And
Correct.
I just kind of curious what the reasoning and logic was on that.
Yeah, the primary reasoning was the pro tournament is is more of an event, and we have more people coming from out of town. In fact, people coming from outside of the region altogether, from out of state. And it's more of a featured event, as opposed to the amateurs, gonna be more local, and more of a basic type of a rental tournament.
And so, yeah, because then when I go look at the fee schedule, it doesn't show what a event rental is. It's just something that you guys determine.
No, the staff, yeah,
It
shared that with us,
it allows the district.
underneath the disc golf rental,
Oh,
rather than the special event rental. It was hard to determine how we were going to justify or distinguish the two, because you have disc golf course rental, and I believe that's on page 44 of the packet. And then, what the criteria is for a special event. And so that's why it was determined differently.
Yeah, and it also requires more maintenance.
so okay, so I see on page 42, disc golf rental, exclusive course rental. Those rates are different than, where's the special event rate that they would pay for the,
That would be on page,
5 of 7?
okay, but we're looking at something different. We're looking at page 47.
Okay, page
45.
44, which is 5 of 7.
It's
Okay, so-
45, I'm sorry. It's 47 of the packet, but the number on the page is 45. No, hold on.
No, I think it's 44 of the packet.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
44.
special events.
So
Special
the
event.
special event, it's based on the attendance, the over 500. So you would use that rate for the pro. Okay. And do you know what the attendance is for those? That seems like that's kind of hard to,
There's,
they would have to put that on the application for the special event?
Yeah. Those tournaments usually bring in about 170 players. And then they, likely would have some family and some spectators in addition to that. My guess is it would be over 200.
So they'd be in the 200 to 500
Yeah.
range? Okay. Versus, okay.
For the tennis courts, I did have a resident talk to me about the the coaches, the people who actually coach tennis, using up the courts to where just the normal residents cannot use them. So they were suggesting, why not charge them so that they, they're charging for their services.
It was proposed, but voted down.
Well, this is, I think what she's talking to is tennis pros teaching private lessons on public courts.
oh, yeah.
When they're not permitted to. And that happens all over the place, and it's
With
not allowed
photography
by
as well.
us.
Oh,
But
Right.
we got to catch them. And
Oh, that's,
Well, ideally, what we'd want to do is say, okay, you can teach on our courts, but you have to pay a rental fee to do that.
Do we have an hourly rental fee for,
2 hour, yes. It's
2 hour
paid
minimum
hourly
for
with
the-
a 2 hour
yeah.
minimum.
right?
Then you have to have somebody monitoring the
it, yeah.
courses and you have to catch them doing
Would
it,
have to be,
correct?
right, and it's not easy, but that's good to know.
Right, it's based on.
actually,
Almond Park?
they used to,
Almond Park. Well, the
who
person
was the
who
guy
talked
that, the big tall guy that used to own?
Matt.
He used to give classes. We used to have classes on
But that was
this.
different. We provided classes. These
These are people, pros using it for an income stream, and the residents are unable to use the tennis courts. So
Oh,
they
yeah.
just want to enjoy the tennis courts, just have a game of tennis, but the tennis courts are being
Oh.
basically hogged up by the pros.
But then they need to be.
And the district's not benefiting at all.
Right, so
Yeah,
then,
so
then
they
they need to
should
call
call-
the district and the district can
Yeah,
kick them
call the
out.
district and maybe some signage
Yeah. Yeah.
saying that, you
Yeah.
know, private lessons,
Are not allowed unless paid.
unless you've
Reserved it.
rented or, you know, have authorization. You know, if violations, please call the district.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
there-
show your
For the sign up?
reservation, payment if you want us to be here.
Yeah, have a sign up and then have the public notify us if
Yeah.
you see it.
Give them a
Hopefully we
phone
get
number
there
to
and
call. If
stop
you,
it.
you know, if you see a violation, call the district.
So are we planning to put up a sign? Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
So then we could have an area where if it is reserved, there would be a reserved by this person. So
Yeah.
the public could see it, and then if
Kind of
there's
like the
not
picnic
something,
area,
they saw
yeah.
that there was a lesson going on out there, then they could say, nothing's posted, and I think this is going
Or for the folks that are actually
Yeah, we could
impacted,
put-
they'll
have-
see that there's an actual
Well, and
event.
the pro might see it and decide to go, oh, they're on me, I better move on.
Yeah, yeah, just.
Or I
like
better
posting,
rent
there's-
it.
There's no reservation for lessons.
Look, we might have increased our revenue, rental revenue.
All right, so
Cool.
it was,
So, yeah, we'll get into the fees in a little bit. It's another agenda
Right,
item.
that's it. So, yeah, it looks like you guys had a good meeting. And
any other questions, Sharon?
that was just it.
I had a couple that,
I get it now.
are the programs coming back? Because that's item number one. I think that Jason said they were dropped off or something, and so.
I mean, I think you see a little bit drop off. I mean, we had such a great year last year that when we came into July, we fell off the peak. But as I was showing Mel today on how things are going, you know, we're doing okay. I mean, we really rely upon last 2 quarters to really fill in things, especially with the lessons and a lot of things that we have going on. So we are probably $8,000 off our projection mark, which, I mean, we're right below our line, we're doing okay.
Okay, good.
Are our programs, because I don't compare from the quarter this year to the quarter of the prior year, are we still offering the same amount of things and just attendance is down, or are we offering less things?
I don't think we're
haven't
offering
tracked-
less, are we?
We're offering the same, it's just slightly down in the attendance. Of course, the school's starting, holidays coming, and then, of course, the financial situation. People might be just a little skittish.
Yeah.
But we were also, like they said, we were so high up during the whole COVID, it was more noticeable.
And we were short-staffed too. We were down a rec coordinator and a rec specialist that really managed most of our social media, so I think
Oh,
our
the
social media.
advertising to get the word out, yeah, that could have affected that.
And I think you also said that you were down 2 people or something.
Yeah.
And I think that was the last only question I had.
Thank you.
I'm gonna say, when you get to my little graph, you'll see it's not terrible.
No, it's off a little bit, but
But November, I already passed the line, so.
Great.
So are we on to
So we're on to the
G?
Trail
The
Committee
Trail
meeting.
Committee, yay.
Yeah. So we met a month ago, October 6th, and we had several agenda items. Roadway and Trail Project at Community Center Park, talked about that. We talked about the Arcade Cripple Creek Trail Project at Sundance and String. And just basically provided updates on those 2 projects, and then identified future trail locations within our parks. And then the subject that probably had the most discussion was D, which is future horse trail projects in the northern area of our district.
What was that?
D, the future horse trail projects. in the
Future
north.
horse trail?
Well, actually, it's not just a horse trail, it's a multi-use trail.
Good point.
Yeah, yeah. It was something that, the continuation from Woodbridge Ranch, which we kind of always talk about that as a horse trail because of the light at Hazel Avenue from Woodbridge Ranch is for horses. But it is a multi-use trail that's supposed to continue from Woodbridge with the ultimate goal is to connect to Folsom Lake.
Yeah.
And, yeah, we discussed that, and updating the trail master plan, which hopefully at our next meeting, we can look at my updated draft as well as,
My question was, did you ever find any of that stuff that we did with the county, you, me, and Manny, that they were supposed to put in a toolbox so they could give people choices on the property in front of their,
no, that's the roadway trails
right?
that,
Part of our history.
which is the roadway standards that the county did. And so,
Right.
yeah, no, I don't have that.
Is there any way we can
Get that?
get it? We need to get it because they keep expanding the trails.
Well, when they do a road improvement, then we look at that toolbox to see what
But-
roadway
They-
we can
they-
use.
They did up there by the other horse arena, the Twin Lakes Riding Club's one,
They haven't done any, oh,
because they.
that
they-
development up there.
They came in with CPAC, and the county wanted to pave it all the way up to somebody's property, and then I said, well, the district was always been interested in doing it, and then the two engineers that were there were 25 years old, and they were clueless. They knew nothing about it,
Yeah.
and so Barry, I think you put in a request that they do something, right?
There's that new trail, when they have that development, it's about a year away, probably 10 months now. Excelsior, I think is
Yeah.
the street,
Right.
near Peerless, is a stretch of trail that they're going to add with that development. And that's kind of what sparked us continuing that out to Mountain and extending north, kind of on the edge of the Indian Stone Corral.
Yeah.
And Sharon's been helpful in sending me
No,
some
but we need
data.
to find out all the work that was done,
Yeah.
so that, because
And that's with the Department of Transportation. I know the guy that was there a long time ago. They're probably all retired by now, and you got to deal with, the youngins coming in. But yeah, it would be nice. We should get, as part of our research for the trail committee, what are the roadway standards that the county has approved that includes
so,
DG trails on the side of, one side of the road or the
so
other?
is that something you need to do, or Barry can help you, or Barry can get the county to help us?
Yeah, I think Barry's probably better equipped to deal with the county, because they don't talk to me as much as they used to.
Well, no, but I'm just saying, we need to,
They're
if
almost
you
afraid
can
of
help
us
him
now.
so that he can start,
Right, I will give him,
do it.
I have the guy's name that was there, he was, and
That was John, wasn't it? John,
I've got,
He's probably retired 10 years, so, but
Yeah.
whatever.
they're all gone, but, yeah.
Sharon did, she did give me some good information, and I did reach out to the county yesterday
The
It's
Parks Department.
regional
yes,
parks.
The regional parks.
about getting permission for a site visit and to look at the potentially going north on Mountain.
On Mountain, where the
Because-
houses.
That's all part of that too,
Right.
that's, so we need
if you have a
to,
mountain bike, it's a nice trip. I've done it a number of times. And going right along the fence line on north part of Indian Stone Corral, cuts down, and then Jim Canopta is coming from Folsom down over by Baldwin Lake.
want to talk more on this? or-
Dam,
No,
Yes.
not-
it's kind of a,
Then we'll,
saying it's a lake and saying it's a dam is kind of pushing it.
Yeah, no
It's more like a hole with water in it.
like a little pond.
Okay.
All right, so I think
So,
Sharon's.
yeah, we'll just, and
so-
I'm doing some other research, so we'll probably schedule meetings a little bit recurring more often, because I'd like to go over what I found at the Placer County. They did a big undertaking for their trails, because they have all this, and if you go to Placer County's trail project, it's just amazing. So I'm probably going to grab some of their good information and maybe update our little trail plan. We're just little Orangevale. We're not Placer County, but they did an amazing job, 3 years worth of outreach. So I'm really excited to see what they've done. And they connect right with us, the
Do they
Placer
have-
County line and
Do they have
Orangevale.
something, do they have something
Forward to seeing
about?
what you get.
In one of the
They
houses,
show
the
disconnected
property, they
trail
had to do a
connections.
lot line
I know, but do
readjustment in one of
they
the
talk
houses
about
because
DG or anything?
the lots were wrong.
Conversations.
Yeah,
So when-
it's massive,
We had the right
Massive
information and we
trail plan.
told them that. and They
No,
said,
but-
no, 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 no.
massive
They
trail
went
plan,
back and
Placer
looked
County.
at it and they had to redraw the entire
toolbox down,
area
so
to
everything-
create property.
Hey, guys, we got so many conversations.
So
I don't know
anyway,
which one's
it's-
going on.
All
All
right,
right,
then let's move.
move on to,
Oh,
Okay.
Trails Committee, Ad hoc
I think that's pretty
Committee,
much it for
monthly
standing
report.
committees. We
the
talked,
administrator's report.
I think at the last meeting, we talked about a personnel committee meeting, trying to do something in November. And that's been, I don't want to schedule it till we get our personnel manual back from the attorney. Once we get that back, which should be soon, I'll schedule that meeting.
Okay.
So it might be December, it might be January.
Could be the end of this month, but more than likely December.
Who's on that?
Not me.
I believe I am. Yeah, I think so.
I think it's me.
Personnel, it is
Manny?
Directors Moraz and Montez.
Okay, phew.
Okay.
All right, so we'll let you guys work out the
Okay.
details. All right, administrator's report.
Okay, so a few highlights. Let's go down a couple. October 18th, myself and Horacio, we met with Inmore Fencing to look at the Arcade Cripple Creek Trail, the fencing items that we said that we would do as part of that trail. So it was good just to get a professional fence guy out there to look at what we wanted to do, and he also gave us a price. We budgeted $30,000, and it came in well under that.
Well, that's good news.
But our trail committee also expressed interest in boulders instead of the cable and post fencing. And so I haven't compared the price of the boulders compared to the post and cable. So that would more than likely drive the price up by using boulders. We can also be selective as to where we put boulders. I love the idea of boulders on fair oaks, probably on string. I don't know about, maybe 7-Eleven. I don't know about Highwood Way, I don't know about 7-Eleven, how important that is to the overall look of the project, so. But we can look at the pricing and compare that.
Be a one-time cost.
It would be, which is beautiful. Yes,
Yeah,
with the
you don't
post and
have to,
cable.
yeah, you don't have to put new posts in or
Yeah,
cable later.
those wooden bollards, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, October 19th, we had our Capri visit. And
Yeah.
that was, I really want to thank the staff, did a lot of preparation for it. And it went really well. We ended up getting a score of 96, which is the same score we got 2 years ago. And, yeah, it turned out really well. A couple of things that we need to improve primarily is our website, to meet ADA requirements with our website. That was really the bulk of it. October 20th, we had a quarterly staff meeting, and we went over a couple items that we completed with the Capri visit. October 20th, myself and Jason met with Cicerco Energy Solutions to see how we can be more energy efficient as a district. We score really high on our lighting. Those were updated. Our LED was updated fairly recently, but solar is where we can get the most bang for our buck. And during that conversation, we talked about the roof, because adding solar to the roof was one of the options. And we mentioned that we're looking to repair our roof real soon, and they said, well, we can pay for the repair of the roof in exchange for the solar panels and in exchange for some benefits of energy costs down the road. So it's a very good way for us to pay for that roof.
I'd like to see that
Yeah.
proposal.
Yeah. And Jason also met with them a week or so later to talk about kind of smart thermostats, but more of a centralized,
Central controller for the thermostat that would reach through all of our buildings and can be tied into the solar deal.
Cool.
so it would allow us to better control climate. in
It
our
goes back to
buildings.
what we were talking about in the past meetings about trying to make sure we have the way to maintain them. So I have a, meeting with the people for that, so. That was something they had me look
So
at.
you
Yeah.
talk to him? And what's the follow-up? We're gonna,
He's on the central control, there's just a little bit of pause. His wife went and had a baby a little bit early, so he said as soon as he gets back in, he'll give me the write-up on it.
okay.
But as far as the solar, I met with them again yesterday, and we're going to get going on that, so they can at least do a free analysis.
Now, when they talk about repairing the roof, are they leaving it a flat top, or are they gonna,
Yeah, we'd have to decide that, if we want to keep the metal roof, and, I don't know, but we did have a couple more leaks the other day when it rained,
It'll, I'm sure, come in the proposal, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
so that'll be coming.
And it'll be compared to when we would get payback, as the accountant I am. The monthly and annual savings in electricity compared to the cost of the panels.
Good point.
I know, and, because I had somebody propose solar for my house, and I'm going, I don't get payback for 15 years, and by then their panels are old and need to be replaced. They usually don't survive longer than that, so.
They gave us three options based on what's the most affordable. The most affordable is having the panels on the ground, so having some land that you can fence off. That's the least expensive, and that would give us the most benefit, because our prices would be lower. And then the second option would be rooftop, and third option would be parking lot, new parking lot structure with shaded structure.
Yeah, it's like they
Like
have
Bella
out at
Vista.
Yeah,
Sierra College, they have that. for
Yes.
sale.
Bella Vista has theirs
that's
too.
the most expensive because they have to actually build something.
Yeah.
Of course, if they put a new roof on, that would probably be the most expensive,
Yeah.
or the least
Well,
beneficial.
they have like roofing panels that are solar.
Mhm.
So that would be interesting to see. You'd have to compare costs of a new roof
Yeah.
versus a new roof solar panel.
Mm-hmm.
And payback. I'm all about the payback.
Cool.
Does that really benefit us?
Well, look forward to seeing that.
Last thing I want to mention in my report is the staff got together and started discussing our 40th anniversary plans.
It's
And we
really
met with
40 years?
with Lisa in her professional capacity with her business, All Events Management. And we thought the best idea would be to tie it in with an event that's already popular, and that would be Summerpalooza.
Oh, okay.
And have something at Summerpalooza that really highlights our district in the 40th anniversary.
Maybe we'll have a museum.
I like that idea.
So that's that's our starting point.
I got one.
Yeah.
I guess it's on Horacio's part. At Coleman, the trees that are around the ball fields, a lot of them are hanging onto the ball, you can see really now. So when you get some spare time coming up,
Yeah, we're scheduled to start some of the prunings, and then I'll go over a little bit on my report
okay,
on that.
all right.
Jason?
I don't have too much ahead as we're going here, but kind of going back, you look at my graph here, just trying to say how we were doing in everything there, where, we missed big time in July, so I said we came high off that May, June, but we've hit our numbers in August, October, and at this point, November is actually past its mark too, so we're doing okay. But we're just gearing up for Craft fair and tree lighting are the big goals coming up, so.
And that's December 2nd, right? It
Yes. Friday, December 2nd.
starts at 6, but be here early?
Parking goes quick.
Yes.
Oh, and we won't have our parking over there yet.
Uber.
That's
One more year.
Uber in.
So close.
next year.
Mel, do you have anything to add? All right. Horacio, thanks.
Well, some of the regular maintenance that we've been doing, it's in there. We did, I'll mention a couple of things. One was, good-sized tree went onto Hazel and blocked off, 2 lanes, so, I don't know if, you guys heard about that one. And,
Yeah.
It's always on Orangevale happenings.
yeah, so, that got removed, and then we took care of the rest of that tree, so it was right, it looked like it was right between the property line, so we just took care of it, so.
Perfect.
Thanks to the staff
Thank you.
that participated, and that got cleaned out. And then the other item is the installation of the VFD, in our pool. So we have the new pump and, VFD installed and, it's running. Well,
Not really.
not anymore, so I'll get into that after. So that went well, got everything running, and Jason and I listened to a little bit of the training that they gave us to, the various speeds that we can set that motor. So we adjusted it to what we would need it for the pool circulation, or to turn over the pool in 6 hours, or half a day, or up to 3/4 of a day. So now the pool, with the weather, is leaking again. So I talked to Barry, and we decided to shut it down, so that we don't lose any more water.
Okay.
So for some reason in the winter is when we get the leak back. So we're
Interesting.
discussing on what the next steps are going to be, and we will coordinate based on what is going on with the schedule of the repairs. So we'll be in communication to see what we're gonna do with that pool.
Did you guys let them know that the contractor that's doing the design on the pool that it did that?
So yes, I had a conversation with ADG,
Right.
the contractors they're the consultants that we've been working with for the pool. And I asked them, the question is, right now, we're still on pace to finish before the swim season begins in April, but there's not much wiggle room. And I asked if, by the time we were ready to award bids, if we're concerned about the timing, if we can postpone that construction to start instead of now, wait till one more pool season, so have them start construction in late August. And they said it's pretty common, that there's time frames that don't match up, and that it's pretty common for it to be postponed one more swim season. But the goal is still to get it done. So right now, the project is with the county. The county has the plans, they're looking over the plans, and they expect to get those to me next week. Once that happens, as long as they're approved, then we can get going on the bidding process, get the bid package together.
And then how is the increased leakage gonna affect that whole thing, or?
We'd have to repatch that leak if we're gonna be going back for another swim season before construction.
And you know where it's leaking. It's leaking at you don't know where it's leaking?
Same spot that we.
Right, it's that seam.
It's the 2 fractures on the
All right,
the 2 opposite ends of the corners.
we'll just have to wait and see then, huh?
Yeah.
But on a positive note, ADG did say that they're not concerned about any kind of shortage of bidders, any kind of shortage of contractors being
Oh.
available.
But maybe supplies? I don't know, are we,
Fortunately, the supplies that we need for this job are in abundance. They're not
no
stuck out in
supply
Long
chain
Beach.
issues? In a ship sitting off the coast of
Yes, it's plaster
San
and tile.
Diego?
So
In concrete.
they're not worried about those products.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, just thanks to all the staff that helped out with pre-visit and getting the parks ready and everything. Even though we were a little short-staffed, we were able to manage to get everything accomplished that was in our plate. So thanks to everybody that helped out with the visit and everything else that needs to be done.
And then the Fulton El Camino police report. You may have noticed that there was, I think it was here at this community center park, there was a citation related to drugs, possession of narcotics, controlled substance. We haven't had one of those in a few months, so,
Well,
yeah.
You know, Pecan Park, no insurance. I mean, how do you know that unless you're looking for something else or something else is triggered or, I mean,
Yeah.
I appreciate them, but I don't want to nitpick
Yeah, I agree.
our residents.
What was that? I didn't hear.
So it's on,
No insurance.
in Pecan Park, I noticed
At Pecan
they
Park,
had,
no
they had
insurance citation.
no,
Oh,
I mean, no current registration is obvious, that's on your license plate, right?
Right.
But the no insurance thing is a little more,
It would look like it was the same person probably, so they probably.
I think it was both, yeah.
it's on
They had
the
no
same date.
registration.
well, could be.
They usually ask for
Yeah,
registration and
okay.
insurance. They ask for both.
So you're right.
Right.
Barry,
If
you
it's
had
on
a
the same
meeting,
vehicle, then yes.
Yeah.
It's two separate.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense then, but I just don't wanna,
you had a meeting with the Fulton El Camino people, like, it was in your report, I guess?
It wasn't because it just happened this week, so this packet went out before I met with them.
And the one comment was that they were giving out tickets for, one complaint was that they were giving out tickets for not licensed or something like that, or whatever.
Correct. Some
License plate.
agencies expressed,
Oh, no front license plate. Yeah, that's
Right.
nitpicky.
And that was, one comment I've heard from somebody in the public said the same thing, that they were being,
one thing that I learned at this meeting was it's a warning. It's not, they're not citing them typically unless they've already been warned before. So it's a way for them to strike a conversation, see if they're doing anything else wrong, and a lot of crimes I discovered by something kind of minute. But they start off as warnings, just like our dogs off leash. They start off as a warning, and they take their name, and then if it happens again, then it becomes a citation.
okay.
I'm personally okay with that approach. It
Right.
starts with a warning.
I am too, I just don't wanna start nitpicking our guests.
Yep.
Right.
You know, I mean, if it's warranted, it's one thing, but, I mean, but this looks like it probably is the same vehicle, and they're at the same time. I didn't catch it, sorry.
That's fine.
So,
All right, that was,
cool.
and then got some photos of our,
Tree and
yeah,
The trunk or treat was a success.
that was great. That was great.
Okay.
And then our Arcade Creek Trail groundbreaking was
Totally missed that.
last Tuesday.
and since I would recommend everybody on the board walk in at least the part that's already complete. It gives you a good idea of what we could do in our section too.
Oh, they've completed some parts already? For the
Well,
trail?
kind of.
It was completed about 10 years ago. And it's right across Sunrise. It's on the west side of Sunrise, across from where the new trail is going to begin. So they're basically calling Arcade Creek Trail a continuation.
Oh, this is where there's that new little park that's
Right.
there.
So
Oh,
if you walk along, you can see the width of the trail, and some of this, they put signage there for some of the trees and shrubs. And they've got, every so often, they've got exercise equipment, and that part is really, now granted, it is a park, but it also is a trail. So I think it's some of the stuff that they've done that we could continue through Sundance and String Avenue when we get some more funds.
I have some photos later on about what we saw at that trail. All right,
So you're done with your report?
I am.
All right, so then we're going to go on to 13. We did A,
13B.
B, approval of Resolution 22-11-698, which we've talked about a little bit, but we'll let you want to go any further on it, Barry?
Yeah. I don't know
Well,
if everybody had a
let's
chance
make
to
the
read it.
motion and then we can discuss.
All right.
I move,
Yeah.
it's usually the order. It's Robert's rules. I move we approve Resolution 22-11-698, establishing a schedule of fees for the use of park and recreational facilities, programs, and services.
I second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Let's have some discussion, though I think we've already discussed it.
I have some questions, actually. After looking at the list, is there any reason why we don't have hourly rental fees that people can rent the picnic areas?
We do.
They're blocks of time.
Oh, because it just says day, so is it missing from these fees? Because I go down to family picnic, group picnic, this is just the ones that are increasing, the day use is what's going up?
They are a day use, correct. We do not do hourly or a portion because of the turnover rate. We would need staff to clean it and prepare it each time, which in turn we do not have at this time.
Okay,
Or have.
okay, that's why I was just
In
asking
general?
why we don't offer that.
So it would be more of a negative eventually, so it's
Oh.
just overall.
And it's also their picnic benches, and people can just go there and have a picnic.
Right, well, if they
And-
want it for just a couple hours, they try to go there and stake it out.
Yeah, they're first come, first serve unless they're reserved.
First come, first, okay, it's only day, that was my only question, I'm going, because we have hourly for the volleyball courts, I guess, and some other, the pickleball courts and but those don't take cleanup.
Yep, correct.
Okay.
You know, you
And
could
also-
Cake all over, could be anything, so again, we don't want to rent it to someone else.
And then some of the drawbacks to that is that people tend to stay longer, even if it's a hourly event, and then
Okay.
you will have to deal with those situations as well. Or if it's a later rental, our
Right.
staff might not be there to do another setup or cleanup for another rental.
And I've probably asked this in years past, the horse arena rate versus the disc golf rate. It seems like it's square footage wise, the disc golf is more area. I don't know how it's set. It's not a big difference, but it just seems kind of comparable for renting the horse arena area with, although that one has stands.
Also
and
think
stuff.
about the horse arena, they're also taking all their trailers and they're moving out. They're just not in the arena. They have that whole.
Right, that whole,
Area,
right,
so-
and the disc golf has that whole parking area.
So,
Risk management for horses as well,
That's true.
They're the highest
And,
risk.
and you do prepare it for them.
wreck maintenance.
Yeah, you disc it up for them. Okay. Remind me that next year. Ask that same question.
You do ask that same question, I'm not saying.
Probably do.
Well,
Well,
what would, do you think it's not appropriate? Now's the time to change it.
No, actually, no, I'm trying to think, because staff needs to inform me why that rate is higher, and I kind of, and I have to remind myself why that is.
Because there's probably more preparation if we were running it for,
Right. So the disc golf,
we only prepare once a year anyway. Generally, I mean, we
Yeah.
clean it up and take
No,
care of
sometimes if
it.
somebody's gonna do a show, they go out there and prep
We
it.
do, we
Arena prep.
monitor it because there's two group users of the arena that have different needs for what they like it. So we try to keep it in the middle so that it's not too hard or not too soft.
I would like one of those pro signs listed at the horse arena as well. Because there are folks who
They
give
use it,
horse
yeah.
lessons out there at the arena.
And it's hard to
Charging
monitor
fees.
that.
And they're
because-
charging for it and using the park for free.
But most horse owners that see that go in there and interrupt them as they see fit.
I know,
They're not like the tennis people.
but
where they can't go
I
there.
think we
shy.
should have a sign
they're
that
not
still
shy.
says
The
that.
arena's
And
big,
maybe
they'll go
we
in there
should,
anyways.
yeah,
Well-
maybe we should have a general professional
Right.
sign.
Yeah.
Because I've even seen some parks with photographers that, are schedule a session and that they have to, we had photos taken, we had to obtain a permit that we paid for the photographer to take our family photos at the park in a certain area.
We've had a few people call and we request the insurance and so forth, but correct, the ones we're not aware of are
Right,
different.
but, so there might be an income generator.
Well, and I think for
Maintaining
the horse arena in general, I thought we wanted there's a sign to post when it's gonna be used so that the general public knows when it's rented, right?
That
Don't we
is
have
valid.
we have that.
We do that a week prior.
Yeah.
But is it at the arena?
Yes.
Yeah, so
Is that the
again,
arena or
But what
the
she's saying is
courts?
the non-renters that come in and do a horse lesson, it's similar to what we were talking about on the tennis court. So if we just had a sign saying, hey,
Private business.
right, no private business, contact the district.
No private lessons
Right,
conducted without authorization of the
Without permission,
district.
Yeah,
without
and
permit.
have that at that same, if there's room for it, I think there's room in that kiosk or whatever it is.
All right, so we'll leave that rate alone anyway.
Yeah.
All right,
I'll remind her next year.
Yeah. Staff can tell me again. too.
all right, so we have a motion and a second. We've had discussion. Anybody else on the board wish to speak, add it or to it?
So punchy.
Nope.
All right, let's go ahead and vote.
President,
Yes.
Stickney,
Yes.
Moraz.
Yes.
And Brunberg's a yes, and Montez.
Yes.
Okay, then we're on the 13C.
Swimming pool.
We've already discussed it a little
Kind of
bit.
discussed it, yeah.
Swimming pool,
This year.
Yeah, timeline for the swimming pool, yeah, we've already discussed this.
Yeah, you're waiting for the counting. You said it'd be here next week.
Yeah, I don't
That's,
think there's anything else.
the one that's not complete.
On to D.
okay, and then we're on the roadway project.
Didn't we just talk about the roadway trail?
Did you already,
You said go look at it.
you want, how is it?
No, this is the roadway from here to our other.
Right. Yeah, so let's see, I do have a couple things. So Peter Larimer, I talked to him about the edging, the border edging for the
Yeah.
DG. And there would be a little over 3,000 linear feet of edging that would be needed, because you're talking both sides
Oh, wow.
of the path. And the cost installed for the metal edging is between $10 and $12 a linear foot. So that would be roughly $30,000 to $37,000 extra for that.
And that's just a border.
What's that?
Well-
Kiss?
That's just a border.
It's just a border.
Yeah,
But
it's not the DG.
It's something that's gonna keep, keep it looking nice, keep it tight, and easier to maintain. Whether that's worth $30,000 or not, we can put it as an ad alternate and see how the bids come in, and
Well, didn't we say that maybe it wasn't needed for all the lineal feet? Maybe it was
Yes.
just, so.
Where it
maybe-
washes off, that was
Yeah,
kinda-
we could look
Yeah.
where
Areas
something
of-
might
where
be.
water runs so that you
Might
really
be a little
lose a
bit
lot.
more
maybe where there's a
affordable.
grade.
Yeah.
When we walked the Shackleton Woods area, we could see where,
It was washing
Oh,
away.
washing, yeah.
Yeah, the DG gets washed away, so if we maybe pick certain areas to put the border in to contain the DG, not the whole 3,000 lineal feet?
Right.
Is that
Yeah,
what's-
that's a good point to point out, because, yeah,
it does wash off.
yeah.
Well, good, we'll include that as an ad alternate.
Yeah.
As well as adding additional trail to what was originally planned, and he's aware of that. So if we find that the bids come in low enough, we want to add more linear feet of trail, we can do that. All right?
Cool.
And
And Arcade Cripple Creek Trail Project, I think I pretty much covered that.
Talked about that.
We
yeah.
broke ground on the 10th, we had the opening on the 1st of November. The two trees that were removed at Sundance, well, they've been removed. They were removed on October 17th. Those are the only two trees being removed within our two parks.
And it was-
Awesome.
They did remove some trees near the 7-Eleven. That will eventually be our property. I think everything else we've already discussed as far as, they're going to be at Sundance between March and July. That's the plan.
Are we going to get rid of the concrete and put the wildflowers in now?
So about that, that's a good point. A couple things. First of all, that entrance to the trail is still in effect. So if we ripped it out, put wildflowers, it would probably be trampled by the time.
Okay,
So we probably want to wait till they've at least started work on the trail within, so March, between March and July is probably when we'd want to attack that.
but that's not a rainy season, so,
Right.
so we can do it.
We could
I
remove the
mean, we can get rid of the concrete and then come back in the following winter time.
Yeah, but to do it now, we feel it just,
No, that's fine.
so we're probably a year away from having the ideal time to do that.
Yeah.
Cool. So that brings us to G,
Yeah, it does.
12G.
Well, we had
or
F, we did
13G.
F, E, G.
Gee,
Great.
I got the photos in here, and that's,
Yeah.
let's see, oh, no, G is the
Meeting.
meetings, moving the meetings to the third
Oh,
Thursday.
Were we gonna discuss the ideas for future trailside apparatus?
Oh, yeah.
That was,
Oh, that's
E.
what the photos were for?
Yeah, Director Stickney was talking about that park preserve, and these are photos. Horacio and I walked it.
I thought we were gonna put them here in this park was gonna have, the trail that goes around the soccer fields was gonna have that. And we already have an apparatus at the other parks. I'm not sure we need to do something that string or,
Not now.
Sundance.
Not, well, if you should go, I would suggest you go walk the park that's already done over there by,
and it has these?
it has these.
Yeah, and what I really
would
like
suggest
is,
everybody go, that does two things. You can see the width of the trail.
Yeah.
You can see the signage that they put in
Mhm.
every so often.
You could always make it a field trip.
So is this an actual picture of that trail?
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
All these
It-
pictures
it's- and
I like
it's
the trash can and
it's-
the
It's the
benches.
width that
Yeah.
on the trail
I
is
do.
gonna be.
The items are in there.
They look indestructible.
Oh, it is, photos from Arcade Creek Park.
There's a whole bunch he put a whole bunch in there.
Everything's concrete.
I mean, we don't have to, I'm not saying we need to do exactly what it is, much as they did, because that's a park. But I just saw, I can see what they're gonna do, and they're gonna do at their ends, and then you're gonna end up going through Sundance and String Avenue, and then you're gonna hear the comments, oh, well, it's just Orangevale. And I realize we don't have the money to.
It's a city with more money, yeah.
Right, I realize that, but I think we need to
Well, I like
keep
the
it,
idea of getting some ideas and being cohesive with what they've started and taking
So,
that all the way through.
that's why I'm recommending that,
So,
go over there if you
Go
can.
look. Okay,
Yeah.
I will. I'm going to.
I'll go
I-
look.
And it
I'll
gives you
be
a
able-
good idea how, what that trail is gonna look like all the way through Sundance and String
Yeah.
Avenue.
Yeah, you could have a couple pieces here and there.
Right.
And that would blend in.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it has to be as, it's like a park, but it's,
There's
Yeah.
nowhere to park at that park, though. It's a neighborhood park. So
Well,
how do you-
that's,
How do you can't park.
that's,
You have to go all the way
They
around.
do have a
Yeah.
parking lot, but it's
It's like 3-car
near
parking
the
lot?
Texas West Barbecue. There's a
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go up that
I don't
road,
even know
up
how to
the
Yeah,
get
that's
there
kinda
to
neat.
park.
funeral parlor and,
yeah. If you
Anyway,
overexercise, you could use the funeral parlor.
Or they're just dying to get in.
I was impressed with the park and the trail and all the stuff that's there.
Sorry, I'm getting punchy.
All right,
Now we're on G,
I need to be
discuss
on
the
G.
monthly board meeting, moving
Right.
to the third.
only reason I would like it back further is that about half the time we end up not having the,
Numbers?
Only one time, August.
Now, there's a few months of the year where the
it won't
county
be
report
in
doesn't come.
January, you won't see it in January, we won't have the money stuff from the county.
So there's some months where we double up on our consent items because the timing didn't allow us to get it the month before.
I didn't know that it adds any time to our board meetings to go over 2 months worth of, I mean, so I just look at, I just look at 2 months worth of numbers and go,
Well,
There's certain months where it'd be good just to know, as far as tracking, if we're on target with our budget or not, if we're overspent in areas. But overall, I don't think it's critical.
so I just,
Are you saying it will shorten our board meetings?
Lisa, only when you and I are in.
Sorry, I'm getting punchy, it's getting long.
I know. What staff feedback? I kind of probably don't care, but, I'd be curious to see what staff feedback is.
Well, I guess it, I mean, I don't have a desire either, I mean, it will work for me either way, but I guess that if it doesn't work out for us, we can always change it back, right?
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that was the main reason for the discussion, is the third Thursday going to be a problem for the board?
Not for me.
we've kind of, everybody kind of blocks out that Thursday anyway, so.
I wish we'd go to a Wednesday, honestly, because everybody has a meeting on a Thursday. I mean, it's like
Well,
but,
well, I don't care. Wednesday's fine too. It doesn't
I
matter.
mean, I'm just,
We have somebody recording our meetings that may be an issue for him.
Thursdays are good.
everybody's Thursday.
So let's just try it for
It's
a
just,
year.
it's a, well, I guess it isn't anything that we need to make a motion on, so. It's
I know, but we need to tell them that, because we probably.
If it's the
usually
pleasure
publish-
of the staff and the works better for them, I'm okay with it. That's my discussion.
It doesn't necessarily work better for,
Oh, it doesn't? Then why do we change it?
I think we wanted to accommodate and have
The
the
budget.
consent items every single
Oh,
board meeting, and we just literally can't if the county hasn't closed the month and we're doing the board packs, but if you guys are fine with having two sometimes,
Well,
it's not gonna be any better for us necessarily.
it's not going to
Who's
be,
got a coin we can flip?
I guess we don't know what we're missing until we try it, I guess.
Flip a coin.
or we just leave it
Second or
alone. I mean,
third.
I don't know. I don't know.
Let's try it out.
Kind of like the parking lot, you pay, but you don't know what you got.
Yeah.
If it's not broken, don't fix it.
Who brought this up?
I don't know. It wasn't
I
me.
bring it, I don't like it at the second one. I like it on the third one. That's just me.
Oh, now we see the
Okay,
source.
so there it came.
Yeah, it did
Okay.
come from you.
See, at least when the museum thing came up, I owned that one. So, Mike, if it's better for you, okay.
It works out better in my life. I'm more likely to be here.
So shall we start it up then at the first of the next year?
we can start
Yeah,
off in
if you would.
January.
January?
That way
And
the
just so
public-
you know, I had already planned a vacation, I think it's in April, that I planned around, assuming the board meeting was going to be on the second Thursday. So that one, we'll see, we can maybe
Oh, it's
move
gonna
that
mess
one.
me, in May, I'm planning a vacation in May.
We can
So
adjust
we're making
those
Mike's
months if we
life
need to.
easier.
We can go over the annual calendar in December,
There you go.
and then,
All right,
sound
so
good?
we'll talk about it next,
All right.
put it on the agenda. So we got two things on the agenda. We got hopefully a recommendation from staff on the historical space.
Right. And put it as an actionable item for us
Right.
to.
Yes, thank you. I'm
And
sorry I
then
missed that.
A discussion and/or action on changing the meeting to the third.
Yep.
All right?
Good.
And then continuing the updates on the pool and the
Yes.
trail.
Come on, Mike.
And then a report from everybody on the walk over at this new park.
Yeah. I made myself, action item,
All right?
No.
SB.
All right, so let's
Look at our
see, we're on to, what are we on to?
Director's comments and staff comments.
All right, so let's go down,
Down the staff.
Jason,
Nothing more
Oh.
for you today.
Melissa. We're all good? We're all getting ready for
Tired, that's why.
Turkey Day.
Turkey Day, and right after Turkey Day is tree lighting.
Yes, we hope to see you all there on
So
the
that brings
2nd.
us to Horacio. We're all getting set, Horacio, for that.
Yeah, we're looking at decorating that tree again before that, the 2nd. I'll be out there with the staff putting the lights and getting it all pretty for.
I
Gonna
love
use
that,
it.
thank you.
Use
They gonna-
Darren from Easy Stumps with the lift.
Yeah, we're getting sponsored by them for the lift, so I already have spoken to him about it, and we have the date set.
So what you're saying is that the community, should they need a tree removal or assistance, they should call Easy Stumps.
Now, are you gonna do a pathway like you did before from the parking lot over to here? You did a walking one, right? With
Well,
lights?
What we have done is we have dropped wood chips so that
Right,
it
yeah.
is already a path.
But there was lights last time, I
Last time we
think.
did,
yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong,
big
Jason, we just put
spotlights.
one string of lights so that they can follow, and that was it.
I never ventured out that way.
But
I think Nadia did that last time.
mostly since we have a light that we put down there, and that path is visible, and that's all we have done. We just put a light spot into that side, and that was it.
Yeah, some kind of lighting would,
Little lanterns, and then you added the lights
yeah,
last.
we need some kind of lighting.
Say, Barry, can you see if Marha can leave her lights
want
up
those lights.
Yes, I
through
will.
then? Because we could utilize those.
Yeah, see if we can plug those in.
Okay, cool.
I think I didn't make it last year. It was the
But last
before
year,
that
there
you
was
did-
no lights, we just put a light right by the corner in the back, and then we shined both sides, and there was a clear path that
We
came
need, we do
across.
need pedestrian lighting of some sort, though,
Uh-huh.
for safety.
We had all those stakes that had the battery lights. I don't know where they're, I know where the stakes are. They're in the.
Gotta find the lights.
The lights, I don't know.
Cool.
I thought Nadia had some lights out there last year.
I'm with Lisa. Maybe we can look into either renting some kind of light system or,
A light bar from the rental guys is not very
Right.
expensive.
Right, just LED.
we got a couple weeks to look into it, you know. And
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, it's not very expensive, the light bar.
Cause it's hard to find parking here, so it's like,
Oh, yeah.
But we
You gotta
did
be able
fix
to
that
park down
area
there.
where it was that ramp or that hill that people had to climb.
Anyway, so I think that's the only direction the board would like, is just if you can get some kind of lighting system.
A light pole,
Yeah,
something, something.
Yeah, I do recall, we did have a light down below by the parking lot, like above the new property. We just put it right off that, and then there was another one shining onto the parking lot area where the overflow is.
right.
So that's where the lighting was.
I remember one year.
I remember the year before, like, the big spotlights.
Right.
Yep.
Shine
Anyway,
down
so,
We had, we rented one of those to put down in the path, and then the other one up here.
anyway, so we'll just kind of give you real rough directions, and you can flush it out for us.
Really early in the morning.
Anything else, Horacio?
Nope, just thanks to all the staff and for all the great work that they did up there.
And it's a little nippy in the morning, and
And
the
a little
watering's
chilly now.
off.
Yeah, it's great. Irrigation is off.
Yes,
Jennifer.
irrigation's off.
Yeah, we had the audit at the end of October. Everything went well. And Larry says he'll present in January or February.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right.
And the new staff is all up to speed, I guess, because we got 3 new employees or within the last,
Yeah, yeah, they're in good shape. They've
Right.
been working for, I think this is their, end of their 3rd week, our 2 specialists. Yeah,
right.
they're great.
So Barry, anything from you?
Not really, just, well, thank our veterans for our freedom, and Manny, really appreciate it, and, yeah, really just happy to see things coming along with the holidays, and some nice events coming along, and we have an election that we're following here with our board, and I think just, if everybody's aware, the next update from the county is supposed to come out at 4:00 tomorrow.
So, speaking of holidays and stuff, what about our traditional appreciation staff appreciation shindig.
Yeah, we're looking at, was it the 18th or the 16th? The 16th, Friday the 16th.
Okay.
We, yeah, it's
And so-
likely going to be on Friday the 16th, or,
And it's like 11 o'clock or something. Just send us all a reminder.
yeah, we'll do. We'll get a reminder out to you once we get all the details squared away. It'll likely be in this room,
Right.
right around lunchtime. We'll have
All right, then I'll,
lunch.
Excellent.
way down there at the other end, at least, listen. Anything?
I'm like way out there right now, but thank you to all the staff, indoors and outdoors. Appreciate all that everybody's doing, so. And we'll see you on the 2nd.
Piggyback, oh, can I?
There you go.
Gotta work our way this way.
Piggybacking off of Director Montez, and also great job on the Capri visit. It's just a testament to the work that you guys do every day.
Me?
Shred 'em all at once.
All is not well at recreational park districts nationwide. Brian Gumble, 2 weeks ago, had an hour-and-a-half program on pickleball. Did you see that, or?
I haven't, I was told about it, so I really want to see it.
It was amazing. People are suing park districts because of pickleball.
Why?
The
Sound.
constant sound of pickleball penetrates walls. And so people are suing because they can't get a piece of quiet. From New York to California, Palisades Park District down in Manhattan Beach are changing their names from Manhattan Beach Tennis Club to Manhattan Beach Pickleball Club. Pebble Beach Tennis Club is switching their name to Pebble Beach Pickleball Club. And people, the high and mighty, who belong to the tennis club, don't like it, because now it's pickleball.
Their tournaments are also being hosted on ESPN.
Yes, and
With some celebrities from country music.
so anyway, that was a fascinating program to watch. I sat there and I was like, what?
Thank
But
you for
it's-
reminding me, I want to watch that, yeah.
It was really interesting. They had neighbors who lived in condos that were near, and they had invited cameras. The sound does penetrate the walls. They're going crazy supposedly. And supposedly has to do with the sound of the paddle and the plastic ball
Oh, yeah.
and the tick-tock, and people are fanatics about it. Seniors they had at Manhattan Beach, they have a seniors club that practices with the pickleball indoors, and that's how they do their exercises, simulating pickleball moves. And the club has grown from 6 people to 80 people in 2 sessions, all over 80 years of age.
Right on.
So it's,
Get your exercise, pickleball.
you know, so anyway, I stood there and I'm going, okay. Pickleball is what? Okay. And evidently it's, anyway, I don't
new
live near a
fad.
court
It's
anymore, so I don't
trending.
care.
It's
But-
because of you that we got our pickleball courts, because you had mentioned it years ago when we
Yes,
were
you
gonna
did.
renovate it. It's because of Manny that we have, well, it started with the one in Pecan, and then when we
Yeah.
renovated this one, so you brought it to Orangevale.
We
Manny.
added
Right next to his house, so he can.
I'll take partial credit.
But the Hazel Avenue one is perfectly situated because of the noise. And the one at
Pecan.
Pecan's
Pecan,
far away from houses.
it's
That'll
it's
be
far
the
enough
new
away from
clap
houses,
now.
so that doesn't cause any
And we
problem.
added 2 more striped ones over at Almond when we redid the.
Oh, we did, that's right, I forgot
Yeah.
about
And we
that.
have a
So-
great instructor, you guys, so come on out and learn. Gail Kinney has been doing 3 classes, and they have been full just about across the board
Yeah.
at our pickleball.
So anyway, it's a fascinating event, and that's all I have. It was just kind of like, I thought it was tongue-in-cheek at first, because,
That's on HBO.
Yeah.
And anybody else that has HBO Max, there's another movie I highly recommend. It's called Class Action Park. It's a documentary about this mostly water theme park in New Jersey in the 70s, 80s, and all the lawsuits that came out of that, based on just poor planning. It's humorous, but it's also got a couple, kind of tragic stories in there too. But
Anyway, who thought recreation would cause,
Right.
yeah, wonder what they do with square dancing, so I don't know.
Clogging.
Anything?
Foggy.
I have nothing to add.
All right.
I'm gonna wrap this up if we can.
Two things. One, beginning April, before the last rainstorm, our parks were gorgeous. They were just not really nice. And they're probably still nice, but I was
That's
walking.
when you last walked them all?
Yeah.
Punchy. I know.
Thank you.
And since we're on pickleball, Colbert has got a program on November 17th. It's a humorous look at pickleball.
Okay.
It's on CBS. I don't know the
What
time.
was that,
rating,
Mike?
So
What was that?
Something's on.
CBS, it's called The Pickle. And it's Colbert's putting on a humorous look at pickleball.
Oh, really? All right.
Yeah, so I don't know the time or,
All right.
So real quick, if anybody doesn't read Pickles, the cartoon, the old dude is out there and he's with a bag, and his wife says, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I'm going to the park to pick up trash." So he gets a bag and he gets a stick and he goes out, and he's coming back and he's upset. And she goes, "What's the matter?" He goes, "All these people think they need to throw their garbage out so some old man can pick it up."
all right.
All right, I motion we adjourn.
I second!
So we got two items for next time.
Yes.
Yes.
And then we have a motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Let's go before it gets really silly.
Lisa, I need you to sign.
Okay. And thank you, public, for joining us.
Yes.